Oh, look what showed up. Got myself a new pedal. I'm so excited. No, I didn't pay a lot for it. It's just, normal amount. It didn't seem like the right amount. Just picked it up. Pretty happy. No. How much? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I Okay, yeah, I overspent a little bit, but that's okay. I got a lot more money coming in. I got some gear I can sell. I'm good. I'm good. No, yeah, this is the third time I've done that, but boy, I really need to be more careful about that. We better have a think on that. Hey, and welcome everybody. For today's episode, we are going to go over the ultimate guide to buying and selling used gear. And today, I thought we'd take a little special time and I'd give you a step-by-step walkthrough on how to get the most out of selling your used gear and also get used gear that you want at the best price. And this three-step guide will give you a great rundown of how to do this efficiently and in the best manner possible each and every time. So just follow those steps and they will work for you. Also, there's a couple extra tips in here about things that veterans that have been doing this for a while may have picked up that you get to know about now. And there's also going to be a PDF below that'll give you just a quick checklist if you need to start working through this kind of system, these three steps, and just kind of get into the routine of doing this. I promise you it's going to save you time, money, and make you more money in the long run. So we're just going to get right into it. Step one, here we go. All right, so here we are back at the computer, and we've topped off the coffee, and we're ready to go. So we're going to start with step number one. And step number one is defining your item's value. And that becomes really important so that you know what you have and you get the best value either buying or selling. And so for this example, we're going to use something that I bought recently. So I thought just using a real world example is the best way to go. So step one, we're going to define the value. And just to give you a little heads up here, I'm going to use this Vertex SSS pedal. And it's just a guitar pedal, and it's something I was after for a bit, and I found one. I found a good deal on it. And this is the process that we use. So step one is you pull up Google. Your phone, doesn't matter where you are, but of course, step one with anything these days, pull up Google and just type in exactly what we're going after here. So we got a Vertex, SSS, and I was going after, if you know what you're going after, it's a very helpful thing. So this was the slight return. And that's the name of the pedal. And just do a very quick Google search, and you can really get a quick understanding of where you're at value-wise for the item that is in question here. So right away, I see that the item at new value is $249. You really need to know what if the item is still available and produced, knowing what the top value brand new is really great. It gives you that level where you start out with something and you know what the very most top cost is. So for this exact pedal in this example, we're at $249 from a Sweetwater or anything brand new from Reverb or anything like that. So from there, step two is to go to this site here, which is a musician's best friend, which is reverb.com. And for that, I've pulled up the site here, and it is going to be your best friend as a musician or artist. Anybody trying to save money and get gear at the best cost, this has been designed for us to get the most out of buying and selling gear. So the first thing you want to do, if you haven't done it yet, is you get to the site. Up in the corner here, you'll be able to set up an account. Of course, do that first and foremost, because you're going to need it. And it does make a difference. And sometimes you can just do a guess and it doesn't matter. You can just get the price. But in this case, do start an account. So get yourself signed up for an account. The next thing you do is obviously clearly really simple. Just go back to whatever you were looking up. Copy that. paste it into that, and it's going to bring that up. And there we are. Boom. Instantly, you're going to get these two things here. That's the pedal we're looking for, the item that we're talking about. It's going to tell you the bottom line price that it's available for right now. And so if I just had to have this pedal today, no matter what, I had to get it on the way to myself. I have to find a version of it. Right now, it's going to tell you that new 250, just like we discovered, or there's one available. You can filter these up to be used or new. And there's the one for 220 plus $20 shipping. And this here actually winds up being a perfect example of why you want to know what that top dollar is for a brand new one. So 220 plus the $20 shipping tells you right away that at $240, if I'm going to pay $249 in this example for the top, I might as well just buy it new. There's no reason to buy a used one in, online or from this site. And that's just exactly what I knew. But that's not the only thing we're going to learn here. So on the site, they have a great feature that if you just keep scrolling to the bottom, this is where your money is here. This is something that's going to tell you so much. This is the estimated price range and the price history. So it tells you this pedal, based on the sales that they've had over the last 5, 6 months, a year, 2 years, it should be somewhere between $100 and $200. So if you absolutely have to have it now, you're going to be paying top dollar because it's just not a good time for this item. But if you were to wait, you could find something in these ranges. This is my favorite thing to look at when I'm looking for an item that I really want, is what's it been selling for lately. So we can see here in this example, it's been a couple days of 145, 199, about $200 there, 205, 180. So it kind of tells me that if I can wait just a bit, you're going to have some options as to finding a better price. And I can even go further out with this graph and see how far it's up and down everywhere. But you can tell that based on the side of the graph here, 170 to 195, anything up into the 220, if I have to do it now, I'm going to be paying premium to have that item right now. But this is not the only site that you're going to want to use. This is just, it gives you a really good baseline really fast. It tells you if you're willing to wait to kind of get an idea of where you can find a good one and what a steal is if you're really trying to find a good deal on something. But the next thing you want to do is pull up another site. So for this one, we're going to pull up eBay. And for this, type in the exact same thing. We've already copied it, so just paste again. And same thing. Just 2 new versions of this. So if it was anything else, there'd be used versions, and you go through the same, you filter through what's good, what's used. Just always be sure to, as you're setting your price and defining what that item's value is, either if you're buying or selling, always include what they're using as the shipping price too, because you could have, say, a new version that's $100 for an item, but they're tacking on $30 shipping, so technically it's $130, and you're going out trying to sell your item for $100 on a local market or to somebody around here, when really the best that somebody could pick that up right now is $130, and you kind of shorted yourself. So just pay attention to the shipping. That's always a big part of that. So we've gone through 2 really good ones here. Reverb is the number one I would suggest for any artist to go to first. eBay, it gives you something to balance off and see if there's any other thing to measure it against, which is really nice. Next thing I'd say is pull up the Google again. Go back to your Google site and check out the shopping. There's always that shopping tab. So we're going to pull that up, take a look at that, and see if there's any good deals on it. So for these, I would suggest, if you're going through this, just a little thing that I picked up over time is you're looking for like the box stores that might have good deals, such as Musician's Friend, things like that. They usually have some things they picked up that people have sold to them or traded them to try to pick up new items, and they might be selling useful versions of those. So on this one, of course, we don't see anything. So it looks like really the best price you could possibly ask for right now, at least on the internet, is looking about $220. So we've defined the value, we've gone through top to bottom, and we've done really the hardest part of this is getting an accurate value of what that's going to be, to make sure that either if I'm buying, I'm not overpaying, or if I'm selling, I'm going to get the best dollar value that's available right now, and it'll help you set those prices when you want to sell. So that's step number 1. Okay, so now we are on to step 2. We've defined the value. So now the best thing you can do to help yourself out, or the next best step is to check your local market. And we're going to start out with a little bit of a safety warning as we go into this. The best thing about doing stuff local is, there's a number of things that can really make it happen, but you have to think about your safety first. We're going to talk about interacting with people in person. We're going to talk about using cash usually in these situations, or some kind of money swapping app, because you're talking about dealing with a person who is here local. So you really have to talk about safety first. First things first is, if you're going to be meeting somebody, either off Craigslist or a Facebook group where they sell gear, you have to take safety first. So number one is, if you're meeting somebody, make sure that you have all the information you need for who they are, and like their car make and how you're going to find them, and pass that information on to somebody else that you know and care about, and let them know what you're doing. I'm going to be meeting this person so at 2 o'clock, and make sure it's somewhere very public. So I'm going to make meeting them at the local grocery store or parking lot at this time, and I'll check in with you, whatever. If it's saying it's 2 o'clock, I'll check in with you about 2:15, 2:30, just so that somebody knows where you are, and always have that safety thing built into it, and have your cell phone with you so you have a way to contact others. I know it sounds weird and sketch, but if you're meeting people, it's better safe than sorry in these situations. But now that we've got all the safety stuff out of the way, step two, using your local market. The reasons that you'd want to use a local market is, first and foremost, if it's something that you just really need now, it's something that you want to apply, you don't want to wait around, you don't want to deal with shipping. I want it fast. Number one, fast. Two is the one I just mentioned, shipping. You can avoid paying for shipping, which is fantastic. Or you can, if you're selling something, you get to cut out all that extra work of taking it off to ship it somewhere, the boxing, the packaging, all that kind of stuff, dealing with making sure it shows up, getting a package number, and a tracking number to make sure it gets where it's going. All that stuff skipped, and that's a huge advantage to doing it locally and using your local market. The third reason would be, the reason that I try to do it all the time, and mostly, is to support local musicians and artists. It's the way to make sure that the people in your community that are trying to survive, that are making, trying to change their sound by selling pieces of equipment to get something better or upgrade, can help you get better by using the gear that they don't want to use anymore. And it helps make sure everybody's moving in the same direction in your community. The more you build people around your community and they get better, the better the market is for you and your music in that area. I mean, we don't talk about it enough, but you need to be helping people around you, and that's going to help you in the long run. You've got to think long term on that. So helping your local musicians is a great reason. And what I found through time is that the fourth and final reason that you'd want to use your local market is networking. You get to talk to the local musicians that are using this gear, that have reasons to be out and playing music or recording music or have this gear, and you get to meet them. And I've met people that have become clients and didn't know I had a recording studio, and they'd come visit the studio and do that. Or I've met people that I didn't know were out playing shows and putting groups together. It's a great way to meet local people that are doing music, and kind of get your name out there and see what's going on. So it's not the best way, but it's a way, and it does actually pay off. So the first thing that we're going to show you here on this list here is to go to Craigslist. That's a great way to check out what your local market is. And just for a sake of making this applicable for everybody, I'm going to go to Spokane, Washington. It's kind of a city that's not huge, but not small either. It's not where I live, but I think it'd be a great example for using Craigslist to take a look over what a mid-sized market would be, and something, if as a rural musician or somebody who doesn't have access to a large network of people and gear, this is a great way to find some good gear. So we're going through Craigslist. We're here in Spokane. That tells you where you're at. And you go down to the for sale items, and you're going to go into musical instruments. Now, another caveat, another warning I'm going to give you is that when it comes to dealing with local people and their gear, a lot of people are a little out of touch with dealing what actual prices are. That's why we went through that first step of talking about what your item and what you're looking for, or what you're trying to sell and what it's worth, defining its value. This is where that pays off, because people always think that their stuff should be worth top dollar. Whatever they kind of paid for it is what they expect that item to be worth. And that's not the reality in the market almost ever. It's kind of like the pawn shop law, where you go, you've taken your item and like, I paid $500 for this, and the pawn shop guy looks at you, I'll give you 50. I can make 100 off it. I'll give you 50. And your whole world, especially if you're a younger artist, at some point that might come up to you where it shatters your world, and oh, I think I've really overvalued everything I have. But so we're here at Spokane, and the best part about this is that as you're going through this, if you find something, say if you were looking for an audio interface, here's a great example, a 212 Scarlett recording interface. So let's say that we came here and this is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to find an audio interface. Let's pull that up. Take a look. Okay, so and the first thing you do is just kind of check out the condition. It meets all the criteria, and then go through the listing to see, make sure it's working. Is number 2. Bought this to start recording music on a computer, but discovered I don't have the patience. Sounds really familiar, and it's the kind of reason I get paid to do what I do, so I understand that. $100. So the point is that they put this up here, telling you a little site where you can go. But the thing that you need to do is just, you found the item that you want to do, and you found a local person to do it through. Just follow step 1. Go back to step 1. Copy what you want to do. Take a look at it. If you're not exactly sure, we'll do the exact same thing. Boom, boom, boom. First thing we'll do, we'll go back to all and get an idea of what it's going for. We see if you wanted to buy a brand new one right now, it looks like it's $189. That's great. So $180, exact same steps, Go back to reverb.com, copy, paste, boom. Now, as you can see, this one's a little bit different here. Some of these have, especially when you're talking about audio hardware or audio software, there's different generations, so you have to be aware of that. And this might be a part where you go and dig a little deeper to see what's best for you, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're just trying to talk about money. So here we are looking for, it doesn't show you any exact ones. Let's refine our search. Scarlett 212. Same thing. But it looks like, if we're talking like second generation, we can find them for $75. Let's pull one up here. Then you compare and contrast. 2. Yeah, so it's about $85. Remember, always include shipping, so we're at $85. And what's the next step? Scroll on down. Boom. And then we found it. So it says used for $71. And of course, we don't know. If you want to check the price here, let's just check the used prices. Yeah, 89. Yeah, we're kind of in that $100 area. It's starting to look 61 plus 20. We're at 81. So you kind of get an idea there. If you had to have it, like, well, maybe I could save $20. The best thing about Reverb here is that they'll give you the great value thing, and that it legit holds up. If you see that diamond, it's something to consider. But again, we have that tool. If we go down to the bottom here, it's going to tell us what these things are going for in the estimated price range. If you want to resell this later, if you're selling one now, I mean, they're going $53 to $91. And like, again, looking at the past ones, it sounds like there's a lot of dates here. That means there's a lot available, and you're going for $75, $90. So actually, that doesn't look like that is the best deal. So we made a great example here of doing your due diligence and following these steps. You can actually wind up saving money. And here's an inside tip that I don't give to a lot of people, but you get to know exclusively. So there's a little step you could take here that, if you've done right, can really come across helpful and friendly. But what you do is you take that item that you found to be cheaper, And on this one, we're saying that they're looking for $100 even. You can go back to the item that you found that is going for, as we said, $61 plus $20 shipping, $81. And then go back, to this place where you're going to reply and set up the email. And as you're going to contact them, pull up that item and copy the URL and just paste that in their email and contact them and be friendly in a very nice way. Say, hey, I see that you're asking this for 100, but I can buy it right now for $81, including shipping. But I'd rather support somebody local. Would you consider taking $80? And I'd rather buy, from you and pick it up quicker. And then usually, and you can use that to haggle, like, hey, would you consider taking 75? It's an open discussion usually. And I find that people are really receptive to this. And it's a great little trick that if you don't feel like dealing with shipping again and dealing with all that kind of stuff, you have this little tip and trick where you can negotiate and talk with somebody and see what the best value is and maybe talk them down to something like that. But it's just a little extra hint, extra tip that should help you out with this. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is really simple. And that has to do with just when you're ready to pull the trigger. So it's pulling the trigger, and you're ready to buy something. You just want to be mindful of what you're doing. You've made your decision. You just have to be aware before you press the button. So 2 things to consider here is additional safety. When you're buying an item, and you're going to buy it from something online, you could use PayPal, which is its own kind of form of security. So basically, when you buy something and you say, hey, I'm going to buy this item, and PayPal, takes the money and they hold on to it. And you can, at that point, if there's something that goes on where either somebody's trying to rip you off or you don't get the item at the description where they said it's of this quality and it doesn't match, you can actually ask for a refund, ship the item back, and still get a refund. And you're completely covered and safe, where you don't have that kind of option in person where you're using cash or Venmo or some kind of, money moving app. So there's that extra bit of security. And the same thing is a redundant bit of security. If you're using Reverb for your items here, exact same thing. If you buy something, you're paying through them, and they make sure that you're getting the item as described. And if you don't, they are fantastic. And unfortunately, I know this from experience. And you contact them and say, I've had an issue or something's not working here. They're on top of it. They're fair. They mediate really, really well. And it's just that extra layer of protection when you're going to buy something. And that's unbeatable. Like say eBay, the one we were showing earlier, same thing. They use PayPal pretty much exclusively. And that gives you the same layer of protection. So just an idea is when you're you're ready to buy, keep those things in mind. But that's it. That's just a quick 3-step system to accomplish that and get that done. So as a little bit of a bonus, we've got the 3 steps out of the way. You now know the ultimate guide to buying and selling used gear to make sure that you're getting the best dollar amount that you can accomplish this. The next thing we're going to talk about here is something that works really well for everybody. And I'm going to go into my personal stuff here, but they have an additional thing on their site that I think everybody should be taking advantage of. And I think it's a fantastic thing to have. And let's go into that right now. So for this part, this is just, like I said, a little bit of an added bonus. This is called My Collection. It's something Reverb offers that I don't think enough people are taking advantage of, and it's something that's made my life super easy. So I'm just going to talk a bit about the advantages of this, but let's pull it up and take a look at it. And My Collection. And of course, I set up an account just for 145 Rural here, but I do have a personal one that I use for my studio, and it has saved me so much time and really let me know what I have and my inventory. So we'll go over everything that's great about it. So with this, first thing is, if you don't know what it is, they have a great little video that tells you everything, how to use it, what it's about. Basically, it's just a place that you can put in the items that you have. It shows you exactly how to use it and what the benefits are, but it's basically an inventory. We're going to do an actual entry here with the item I showed you before. We'll put that on there, and I'll show you exactly how to use that. But the benefits of this thing of course, are it keeps track of the value of your items. So no, if things are going up or down, or things like sometimes there's items that just get really hot. Like all of a sudden nobody cared about it, and then bam, out of nowhere, everybody wants one of these, and they jump up, they double in price, triple in price. It tells you the price change so that you know at all times what your things are worth. And that's always a huge win. The next thing it can do is it just lets you know your inventory. If you can pull it up and see a list of things that you have at all times, like do I have enough cables? Do I have the right kind of amps and everything? And is everything those kind of examples? You have a list of all those things right there, ready to go. Fantastic. Always having it is great. Another great thing about it is there's on Reverb, since it's already doing that, and you already have all the information put in there. You put the condition of it. You've basically got everything already filled out. And then when it comes time that if you want to sell that item, it's a button click away, and bam, I want to sell. Puts it up. It's here's what it's worth. Some of these you can attach. You can just attach pictures to it and have it already ready to go. That's the only other thing. Like sometimes I don't go through the hassle of taking pictures of everything I have. So if I'm going to sell an item, I make sure to take the best high quality res photos I can so that people can make a good decision. And that's about the only other thing. But besides that, point and click and you're ready to go. And that's just unbeatable. And another thing that I hesitate to bring up, but I have had this discussion with my significant other, my wife, and something that you can think about is that it's a little morbid, but having a list of all your stuff and your inventory of musical gear and its value can be really an asset. If, like, say in my example, if I was to pass away tomorrow and my wife walks into the studio and like it's just a collection of crap, it's all, what do I do with this? It's just music gear. Somebody come pick it up, a couple $100 and it's yours. As opposed to if she pulls up the site and sees everything, it's got its gear worth. She just press a button, she can sell it and take care of it. It's a little bit of work doing the shipping, and you don't want to put somebody in grief in this horrible situation and this morbid example. But instead of getting a couple $100, $1,000 for a bunch of gear she had no idea what it was worth, here's 10, 20,000, $30,000 worth of gear. The funeral's taken care of, and you are set up for a little bit of success going forward. So it's a little bit more, but having that is fantastic. You can't beat that. But those are just some of the advantages. But I said, let's do a real quick example here of how to do it. We're going to do it. Go up here where it says add item. And again, we're going to use this Vertex SSS pedal and do that. Just an example of that. And you're just doing the exact same search functions, basically. And typing is real hard. Boom. Find your example, add one like this. That's simple. Bam. And then you just go through and just put in, what's unique about your gear. If there's something unique, probably not. Sometimes there is something. Like if you take that right there. If you were selling something like a guitar, that is just a Strat, like a Mexican Strat, doesn't really matter, but I've custom built it out to be basically an American Deluxe. Huge difference, like $500 versus $1,500. This is that kind of thing you do. I've done, these are the upgrades, blah, blah, blah. I upload a photo, give the details of what condition it's in, the year, all those kind of things get saved into here. And then you'll do the condition, it gives you a price base. Like I've got brand new, basically excellent condition. It's going to tell you all that kind of stuff. It'll give you a price. All those kind of things can be done here. So super useful. You can even put your serial number, which I've done. I've gone through. You always have that worry about what if there's a fire? How am I going to convey what I have and what I don't have? And having those serial numbers instead of just written down in a firebox somewhere. Or for a lot of us, we don't ever care or think about it. But having someplace to have that recorded, when something goes down and you actually have those serial numbers, oh, so nice. But just for example, let's save and add that. Boom, done. There it is. Tells you about the worth, what it's going for, if it's moving up or down. Like I said, invaluable. Nobody's really talking about this that much. but I think it's an invaluable resource. And you can go back to your collection, and as you start to put things together, it just lists it out. There's one out the other, and you can just see your gear. And sometimes, especially when it's like, hey, I need to come up with some finances or something I need some money to invest really quick into something else. Let's go through my list of my inventory and what do I need? What am I not using? Oh, I didn't remember I had all these things. I didn't remember I even had this pedal. I'm not using it. It didn't, my sounds evolved to where I'm not using this anymore. Boom. Let's just list it for sale. That simple. So that's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle of things that can help you buying and selling all of your gear. And I hope this list will help you out, but let's wrap this up. Okay, that was it. I hope all that helped you. And again, down below there is that PDF, if that'll help you, a little checklist that you can work through. All these steps I promise will help you if you aren't using them already. They are going to be a game changer for you. Of course, if any of this helped you, please give us a like, and that'll be fantastic. We'd really appreciate it. And of course, if you'd be here for the next episode, we'd really love to have you. So see you then. Till next time. Bye.